Okay, so I'd like to invite you all to book two of the Pop and Cocky series. This book is called Treasure Hunt, and I'd just like to say thank you for all the lovely comments that I received from book one. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Pop and Cocky were hanging out at home. Cocky was reading a book about pirates. He loved reading all kinds of books, especially pirate books. Pop looked at her friend. Why do you love pirate stories so much? She asked. They are just so great, he replied. The stories include all my favorite things. Yeah, like? Asked the little ginger cat. Like sailing ships and cannons and adventure and desert islands and, of course, lots of treasure. Treasure? For real? Asked Pop, her eyes the size of tennis balls. Yes, pirates love burying treasure chests, silly, replied Cocky. I've just had a brilliant idea. Let's grab a few things and have our own treasure hunt, said Pop, with a huge smile. They grabbed Cocky grabbed his book, a map, and his shovel. Poppy grabbed a few essentials too. They organized a taxi and invited their friends to see them off. Everyone wished them a successful adventure. Can you find Plucky P? He's small and green. I see him. Macy Morepork offered some sound advice. Get as high as you can. The higher the better, she said. That's great advice, said Pop. Driver, take us to the airport. It wasn't long before they were soaring through the sky in an airplane. This is really something, said Cocky. Where did you say pirates bury their treasure? Asked Pop. They always bury it on a deserted island, he said. Like that one? Asked Pop, pointing through the window at a small yellow island far below. Exactly like that one, replied Cocky. So the hard part was done. They had located a potential island. Once back on the ground, they headed in the direction of the island as quickly as their legs could carry them. The island sat in the middle of the sea, a long way offshore. We'll never be able to swim out there, sighed Cocky. Who said anything about swimming? I've just had my fur combed. I'm not swimming anywhere, responded Pop. Let's just borrow that boat, she suggested with a cheeky smile. Wouldn't that be stealing? Replied Cocky. Not if we return it before anyone notices, quipped the ginger cat with a wink. Cocky didn't think that was true, but stayed silent. They hopped in the boat and fired up the engine. It was so loud Cocky's beak rattled like a box of spoons in the tumble dryer. Before you could say cock-a-doodle-doo, they had reached the soft sandy shore of the island. Not wanting to get her paws wet, Pop insisted Cocky carry her to dry land, which he did. Once ashore, they looked around, then checked in the pirate book for the best place to dig for treasure. In the story, it's about 20 steps from the beach under a coconut tree. Perfect, just perfect. Let's try that, said Pop. She was so excited. They took 20 steps and ended up under a huge palm tree. Cocky drove his spade deep into the soft sand. He shoveled the sand to one side and repeated the action. This time there was a huge clank. The spade hit the metal skin of a large pink chest. Pop jumped into the air with shock and excitement. Jackpot, she screamed at the top of her voice. It was a pink chest packed to the brim with all kinds of amazing treasure. It was such a beautiful day. The sun was shining, the water lapping softly on the sand. The gold and precious gems sparkled like tiny fireworks. The two little treasure hunters played for hours in the sand. They built sandcastles, used gold coins for windows and doors. They played tug of war with long strings of diamond necklaces. They skimmed gold coins along the water, counting the hops. Then finally it was time to take a well-deserved nap under the palm trees. They had such an exciting day, a short nap unexpectedly became a long sleep. When they awoke, the sun was low in the sky and the tide had gone out. Even worse, as the tide had emptied, it had dragged their boat out with it. The boat was now too far offshore to get to. Pop, I think we're in deep doo-doo, quivered Cocky. They were. They were stranded. They watched the boat drift further into the distance. Cocky checked the food situation. There was no food. Once Pop realized there was nothing for dinner, she sprang into action. She rolled up the mat into a huge megaphone and started yelling at the top of her lungs. Over here! Help! Help! Over here! She yelled. And someone, or rather something, heard her calling. That something was a huge whale called Billy. Billy had been splashing around in the water enjoying the sunset when he heard sounds coming from the tiny island. He swam over to investigate. He was shocked to find a cat and a rooster waving at him. Can you take us to our boat, please? They asked. Of course, answered Billy, and a huge burst of water shot out of the top of his head. All is well that ends well. Billy brought the pair to their boat. They brought the boat back to the dock. A taxi brought both of them to the airport, and a plane brought them both back home. As they were getting ready to land, Pop asked Cocky what he had done with all the treasure. I buried it. That way someone else can have fun finding it and digging it up, he said. But don't worry, I kept a couple of mementos. That night, the two exhausted adventurers got ready for sleep. Cocky looked up at Pop and said, That was a super awesome adventure, Pop. I think if we go treasure hunting tomorrow, I'll bring some food though. Poppy looked down from her bunk, her eyes sleepy. Don't be silly, Cocky. We aren't going treasure hunting tomorrow, silly. Tomorrow I have a much better adventure planned. Now get some sleep. You will need all of your energy. Can you guess what that adventure is? The end.